Wanna get weird with me? I wanna get weird with you. Wanna get? I wanna get weird. Wanna get weird. Wanna get weird with you. With you. With you. With you. Wanna get weird with me? Wanna get weird with you. Wanna get? Wanna get weird. Wanna get weird.
Use it.
I wanna get weird with you. With you.
Use it.
I wanna get weird with you. With you. With you.
Use it.
Wanna get weird with me? Wanna get weird. Wanna get weird with you.
Use it.
Wanna get weird with me? I wanna get weird with you. Wanna get? I wanna get weird. Wanna get weird. Wanna get weird with you. With you. With you. With you. Wanna get weird. Wanna get weird?
Use it.
Wanna get weird with me? I wanna get weird with you. I wanna get weird. Wanna get weird. With you. With you. With you.
Use it.
Wanna get weird with me? I wanna get weird with you. Wanna get? I wanna get weird. Wanna get weird. Wanna get weird with you. With you. With you. With you.
Use it. Use it. Use it. Use it.
Wanna get weird with me?
Yeah, that's like exactly. We'll start recording and get into the awesome sauce.
Is that too bright? Is that too glowy, that light? Or...
No, it's not too glowy. I think it's more important on the show that people would see you instead of seeing me. And I like to have, this atmosphere, in such a fashion that we're like underground.
Okay.
It gets you in the mood. Like I don't know, when's the last time you've seen a club or a party?
Funnily enough, I did a DJ stream the other week for there's a company here. It was for charities to do with backline techs and everything in the music industry. And the company's called Martin Audio. Do you know Martin? They make all the sound systems here. They're like as big as what's that other company that makes all the big sound systems? God, I haven't been to clubs so long.
It's okay. It's a good thing. No sponsorships happening, so you can take all the time you like.
Bloody hell? What's the fuck? It's just
Is that the name? It's an interesting name.
It's a well-known sound system company. They're from England. Anyway, there's Martin Sound. They make sound systems for all the concerts, and they own Focus. You know Focusrite,
right?
So they own Focusrite. They took over Focusrite, Novation. Anyway, so we did this gig, and it was in a club in Brighton, a really good club, and obviously there was no one there. They just had like us filmed. So, but I did a party in Brixton the other week, but it was like you have to have the music really low. But yeah, not properly to a full audience. Haven't DJ'd.
What was it like being back in the room, though? I mean, a lot of live streams are taking places in people's homes or in alternative venues, but I
Yeah,
know that there's definitely some in venues, like in clubs and
it's weird because obviously you see in America they're just having parties like in Florida they never stopped really. It's just crazy.
it's a bit like seeing an oasis when I'm online. All of my friends in the United States, and they're all out. They're partying. They're doing shows. They're out. They're eating out. They're out. And
Yeah, we can. Well, I don't know if you're still in lockdown, but you can eat out here, and everything's open to eat out, and everything's kind of normal. The only thing is no clubs are open, um, and we can't fly really anywhere.
so it's definitely still in a lockdown situation where we're at, and you can do takeout or takeaway for
No,
food.
you can get. No, I can. Oh, here, there. Oh, we can go to restaurants
Yeah,
now.
no, I admit there might be a patio or an outdoor thing that might be happening that I'm unaware of. I don't think so though. I'm rather certain everything is still
Yeah, no.
locked.
Here we. What are we in June? Sort of from about the end of or middle of March to middle of April till middle of May, they had where you could eat outside at a pub or anywhere that had outside. But now you can go to all the restaurants are open, and it's like it's you can eat indoors. It's everyone's out and about. You go to the beach, but it's just like they're just keeping tabs on it. We did have like you could go to Portugal for a holiday, but they've cut that. They've made it into like a because they're doing this traffic light system, so they made Portugal green, and now they made it amber, which makes it harder for people to travel there um, because they still got in Portugal. They've got quite high, not enough people are vaccinated. Well, we've got a load of people here vaccinated, but they had all these variants. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I just
Me
go with it.
neither.
I'll
Yeah,
just
I
go
yeah,
with it.
it felt like for a while during this process, um, and I'm talking about regardless of the alternative information that was being
Yeah, yeah.
shuttled towards me in my
Oh yeah,
feed.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but regardless of that, it felt like information was constantly in this morph. It didn't matter. One day it was one thing, next day something else, and you've got all these different agencies that are simultaneously trying to act. I'm assuming towards everybody's benefit, and I can
Yeah,
only
so
imagine some of the miscommunication. And this might be the actual thing that would, in my imagination, add a divot or a pivot
mm,
or something where you could just think. Let me stop for a second. When I'm thinking about conspiracy theory, I'm thinking about something that's very well organized. The execution seems obvious and very
yeah.
straightforward. If you've ever needed proof that project management on the highest of levels could still be complicated, this pandemic has definitely
It's not.
proven.
It's like, well, it just shows what human nature's like. I mean,
Sure.
can you imagine, back in 1918 when they had, nothing. People, I don't even know if a radio was even. They didn't even have radios back then. Most
1918.
people did. 1918. So we had this thing in Europe called the Spanish flu. Well, it hit massively in America, and I'm sure it was in Canada. But like millions of people died.
Hmm.
But that's because medicine isn't what it is
That's
like it is now.
yes.
People didn't hygiene. People. I don't even think a fridge was invented. It's just like it's still like in technology wise, we're living in the dark ages. So and but the thing is, funny enough, I watched this TV show the other night, and there's one main protagonist for this anti-vaxxer. It was a show about the anti-vaxxers. So there was a doctor in the UK. I can't remember his name now, but I remember seeing on videos when people say, "Look, he's telling you the truth," blah 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 blah. It turns out, so this doctor was responsible for, when kids they have the MMR vaccination for mumps, rubella, and
Right.
so basically, this doctor, due to it kind of fitted his narrative to basically make out that this vaccine was causing autism, and he did all these experiments, but he designed it so it would fuck everything up, yeah. And he got struck off the doctors list in the UK, and moved to America, has become a massive celebrity. He was married. I think now he dates, um, what's the name? Elle Macpherson. You know, like he's become this celebrity, nerdy doctor who's dating, you know, an ex supermodel, and basically he was spreading his shit there. And obviously with COVID now, that's been like gold dust for him because he can spread even more disinformation. And it's massive money. The guy's making it's huge money
Is it
behind.
David Icky? Is that who?
No, no,
That's somebody
name's
else.
David. No, David Icke. Yeah, no, it's not
I'm
David
saying it
Icke.
wrong.
No, his name's I can't remember. He's a well-known doc, but yeah, yeah. No, David Icke's a bit of a yeah. I mean, there's so many of them, but anyway,
Crazy. It's definitely a crazy time. It's funny here. We've been together now for minutes. This is our first day.
it is.
Yeah, I'm giving you some virtual hug right now. When we are talking about breakbeats, we are talking about a genre that came from breakdancing, hip hop, R&B, rap, and rock. It's fusion music that has been a staple for the dance floor and one that has super history. Some of these hit records came from the funky mind of our guest tonight, who has produced more smash hits than you could shake a glow stick at. Here in the utility room, you've definitely heard Push Up, a song that I believe to be a monster breakbeat track that will fuck up your feet in an instant. There's much more. B-Boy Stance, Don't Hold Back, Jump and Twist, all did chart action and cemented themselves in DJ's boxes. And it's not just production that's marveled the globe, but he's also a touring artist. It's absolutely special to be with the legend tonight. Please welcome to the show, the Freestylers.
Hi, how you doing? What an introduction! I've never heard of push up saying "gonna fuck your feet up," but I like that one.
Good times.
I
What came
like that.
first for you, DJing or creating?
What came first? Did you say?
Yeah.
Well, it was actually DJing. So when I was about 16, I was so obsessed by the music, and we had this popular show, like a music show in England called Top of the Pops, which was a famous. I think they might have showed it in Canada, like all the bands that were, you know, top 40 in the national charts. Someone would go on this TV show, and obviously when hip hop came to fruition back in, like, you're talking about 84, 85, 86, you know, you have these artists on Top of the Pops with these turntables, you know, scratching it up or whatever, you know. And these turntables just looked amazing. And I just wanted to do that. I just wanted to scratch. I didn't really know about mixing at first. I just knew about wanted scratching because I just love the sound of scratching. And anyway, so I got my turntable. So like, yeah, the whole DJing thing came first really. So I learned to scratch and mix at the same time. And then that progressed because what happened was how I got into the whole aspect of music making. Apart from buying like the records that I was listening to at the time, I started buying all these like breakbeat records and finding where the funk grooves were coming from these hip hop tracks that I was hearing, stabs or beats or whatever. So I started buying these albums. The one set of albums called Ultimate Breaks and Beats, which is definitely the one of the most important records I think in the whole of hip hop history for everywhere around the globe that were making music. You know, even in America, obviously the records were coming from America. These compilations of hard to find records that were rejuvenated through hip hop, basically the Ultimate Breaks and Beats series. And what made these records really go, apart from obviously the funky grooves, was the amazing kind of artwork. It was kind of half graph, half cartoon sort of drawings on the back and the front. Anyway, so friends of mine, we were kind of had a rap crew, and they'd come over to my house, and I'd scratch up the beats, and we'd try and emulate what we were listening to. And I said to them, we should go to a studio and record this properly. And so it transpired. We ended up finding a studio, and we started going to the studio regularly. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I had I just wanted to as in technically I didn't know what I was doing, but I had the initiative of knowing I wanted to sample this beat and I wanted to put this with there and blah blah blah, and the attitude towards it. And so I was going to the studio quite regularly, and then I thought, you know what, I'd be so much easier if I could learn how to use the equipment, because it's not like nowadays kids can look on YouTube. There's loads of music colleges. We had a school in England called School of Sound and Audio Engineering, um, which was like a kind of college of learning production. But I don't know if I never went there, but I don't think it was quite how it was back then, how it is today. And they are around the world now. And anyway, these guys offered me a job in their studio and to learn how to use the equipment, because they needed help with, they were getting really busy. It was in a house, and it was like the birth of the the whole acid house movement in the UK. So there was lots of pirate stations coming in to do jingles and radio ads, and I'd start putting them together and learning my trade and learning how to record. It was back then, it was tape. You had to record on multi-track tape, and also back then, like the sampler had like 8 seconds sampling time. So if you wanted to make a track, it was like you have one sample at 8 seconds, 2 samples at 4, and so on. You know, and I remember going there, like, yeah, if you wanted to have like 4 samples, you'd have to speed up the record to, because in the UK we used to print records at 45, whereas the US imports would be at 33. So it was easier. You could, if you bought all the imports, you could change the turntable to 33. So instead of the beat being boom, sh, boom, sh, you know, the beat would be boom, ch, you know what I mean? So it's like sped up, and that's how you used to do it. And then that's how we kind of first made music. And I think when I first started going to the studio, we didn't even have what was called SMPTE, which was basically when you press the tape, it would start the computer, and we didn't really have that. So I think I remember the first few times you'd have to manually press the beat, try and get it in time, and loop it up that way. It was mad. And then eventually things transpired that, you know, technology moved on. Akai introduced their S900 sampler, and then they had like the first program we used was a program called Steinberg Pro 24, and you could connect that up to tape, and you had to say, you used to have to put this code onto tape on one of the tracks. So if you had I think we had an 8-track machine, so one of the tracks would be used up with this kind of noise that was called code, tape code. So it'd be like like you know that old, you know, when dial-up first started, it was like a bit like that. But the annoying thing was you'd have to play back the tape for 5 minutes or 6 minutes, and sometimes there'd be a drop in the code, so you'd have to go back all over again, record it all again. It was just like a nightmare. And sometimes you'd leave it on there, and it would kind of, something magic would happen in your track as well. Like it would skip, but it would be kind of in time. Just, it was just mad shit used to happen back then.
I heard you say the word nightmare, and I'm listening
Yeah,
to you describe the whole process, and clearly it's radically
yeah.
different today. I mean, if you
Oh
wanted
yeah,
to, you could.
it was very, sorry to interrupt, it was very, very hands on.
Do
You
you
know,
get do you get romantic about this process and how it
um,
was? Do you ever think to yourself? I think, for example, I'm not
mm,
quite sure which album, so I don't want to misquote it, but I know like
yeah,
the Foo Fighters, for example, went back and
mm,
recorded a whole album like in someone's garage. One of it might have been Dave Grohl's garage. I'm not sure.
okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The main ingredients of this story are what they are, and they did that purposely is to so they could go
Mm,
back, and they used, you know, shit gear. They're all
yeah,
old
yeah,
plastic
yeah,
gear to capture the recording and mix it as
yeah.
well, so that when
Mm,
it came out, it had this form of authenticity that a
yeah.
very glistening studio release
Mm.
would not have.
I can totally imagine. Yeah, I mean, well, that's all we knew at the day, and like, you know, it was all, you had a mixing desk, and sometimes what you would do, so you'd put like a beat down for 5 minutes, and you put like a bass line down for 5, so it just loops. So it was all these loops, and then you'd have to you'd have mute buttons on the desks, you know, so you'd count the bars, 1, 2, 3, and then lift your hands up, and you know, and sometimes if you fucked up with the button, like you didn't count it properly. There'd be a spill from the last bar,
What
or
was
you might do it at the
describe
wrong
the form of
time.
patience that you were having? Like, was this a very patient process for you? Then you
Um, well, as I said, when you don't know any different, it was just like kind of frustrating more than anything else. But it's. But then the more you do it, you kind of get better. But like I remember there was tracks that I did as Black's Posse, run out of tape. So when we recorded the scratching live onto the mix downs, or so you'd have the 8-track tape and the computer running, and then you have to record it onto tape because this is even before DAT. You'd have to record it onto 2-track tape, and then that's what you would get your master from. Yeah, so you take that to the mastering place, and so yeah, we'd have to record the scratching live. So sometimes the turntable would jump, or so he'd say, "Oh, like we'll just do it again, or just edit it," and that's where you see, the old school editing when you have to try not have greasy fingers, and you get the chalk, the pencil out, the white pencil, and
you mean
cut the
greasy
line.
fingers from like studio munchies?
Well, yeah, or chicken KFC or something like
I'm
that.
listening to you talk about this. I'm assuming that this was discussion in the studio. If you were working with somebody, if there was someone else in the room, this would be, oh fuck, this machine's gonna take another 5 fucking minutes. I gotta go take a
Yeah,
walk. Right? Were
yeah.
you was what about other conversations though that were not about the creative or the mechanical, or at least the mechanical of the machine? What were
Back
you
then,
ever were you ever concerned about the legalities of sampling?
no, never. And I've never been for sampling. I've never been worried about sampling. I've never let that worry. I've never let that creative process disrupt what I'm trying to create. If that makes sense. Like if I feel the sample works, I'll use it. So be it. If it's I mean, the thing is with the whole sampling is if a track's going to be massive, the person that owns it will let you. I'm sure you'll come to some agreement. You'll give publishing away, and you'll give your master whatever. But at the end of the day, sometimes it creates a bit of hype, and the track will get bigger because there's a sample and there's some legal wranglings and blah blah blah. But generally, most big dance artists from the last 30 years have always sampled. It's like all these disco house cut-ups, they're just sampling other people's records. No one's really got into problems, or they've cleared the sample eventually. It's like, Daft Punk, their whole history is from being clever with samples, and recreating, you know, tracks with undiscovered samples or lost tracks and giving them a new life. That's the
Right.
thing with samples. If you're really good at doing it, I believe there's an art you can give life to something that no one's ever heard, and just bring it to a new audience, which then people. It was like which is like in a way history. Like back in the day with hip hop, I was hearing all these records in like whether it be stabs or breaks or grooves, and I'm thinking, well, where does that come from? And I end up going actually purchasing the. It's not like nowadays you just stream it. I'd actually go out and buy. Oh, I found out there's this group, never heard of them, Meters. I don't know the Meters. Pre my time, you buy this album and you go, wow, that's amazing. Some wicked grooves. And you buy more albums of that and so on. And even James Brown and all untold funk that was sampled in hip hop. So many good records across a wide spectrum. So yeah,
How did you know which record labels to work with?
that's the biggest mystery. Well, from back in the first records I released, we kind of releasing on our own label, and Jay, who owned Blaps, it was very like a lot of it back in the early days of like 89, 90 was all like kind of self-driven, all little independent record labels, um, because big labels didn't understand it. It wasn't pop music. It was just this noise, culture and sound that they didn't know about. So
Do you
you had
think
to do
that
it
this
yourself.
form of entrepreneurship, sorry, apologies, did the form of
So,
entrepreneurship that this adventure of going out and doing it yourself, do you
hmm.
think that this lessened the legitimacy of what it was that was happening in that end of the music
No, I
business?
think that totally drove the whole acid house rave scene, especially in the UK. I mean, I can only talk for here. It totally drove it. It was like a self-driven love of the music and the vibe and the whole elements that were being created. The whole, yeah, just the whole vibe of the whole culture that was happening at that time. You know, doing these at the time illegal raves and the music that was associated with it. It was all like it was all independently run by just normal people, normal music loving people of this particular type of music that was new to everyone's ears.
Was it was it odd getting contacted from a label that was not from the UK? Wasn't part of Great Britain? What in France? Nothing that was a neighbor.
Mm.
Like let's say,
I personally, the only time I've ever been signed to specifically to a non UK label as a home was when we had our first album out. We got signed to Mammoth, which is an American label. But apart from that, it's all UK. And getting back to like so, even back in the day, you kind of well, even nowadays, like a record label, most maybe independently or a label that's kind of run through a major and A&R by some dance person. A label will have a style, like you're Defected or on the kind of house tips or whatever they're doing now. So if you did like a disco record or something of that ilk, you'd want to probably get it on Defected. Whereas if you did a drum and bass record, you probably want to get it on Ram, or you want to get it on Metalheads, or something. Do you know what I mean? Or something. So artists, you normally find that record labels put out, whatever label it is, have a style that they're looking for, that their current artists or future artists will drive that label with that particular sound and style that they're looking for.
did a publisher or a label ever align you with a collaborative producer, like who was
Not
was this
collaborative, but
like a stranger,
not
like
collaborative.
someone that you didn't know, but it ended up clicking together cosmically. It worked out.
Well, actually, as far as on large scale, yeah, push up. So I was signed to the first publishing deal I had was with this label called Rondor, and they had an office in LA. I met the Ron in Rondor actually once. They got eaten up by Universal, but at the time, this my A&R guy, his name was James Dewar. He was a bit of, I think, to be in publishing, you have to be a bit kind of wacky and a bit out there. And anyway, we sent him what was the backing track
I'm sorry,
of Push
you
Up.
said publishing, not music, right? I just want to double check.
Yeah.
All right,
I
I'll make
sent him.
that
Yeah,
note.
I mean, I sent him the backing track, and then he goes, "Oh, I've got these guys. I think they might sound really good on it." And 2 weeks later, I get Push Up back, in its earliest form, and like, blown away by it. The guy added like a bridge and all the singers, and so it's more like with publishing, it's more um, songwriters and rappers, or if that's possible, more than producers.
What was the difference between Raw's Fuck and the Freestylers?
Nothing really. The only what it was. So we
Why did you do?
what it was basically, it's quite easy. So technically, what happened was on a legality. So the first label we were signed to was called Frescanova, and we released 2 albums. And so around about 2002, they kind of ceased operating, but we were still kind of technically signed to them. So, but it didn't stop me and Matt making music. We was, continually making music. And we came up this track, Punks, which then went on the Raw as Fuck album. And we said it sounds, the expression, that sounds raw as fuck. So we just thought, okay, we'll just call ourselves Raw as Fuck, and we stuck out a couple of tracks as Raw as Fuck, and then we got our name back. We could use the name Freestylers again, and we decided to call the third album Raw as Fuck. That's what that happened there, really. But it just so happens the sound was Raw as Fuck. It's quite a simple one.
I think to myself, like, you guys had worked together and collaborated with super people, and cemented yourselves um as dynamite producers and DJs, and then the label goes down, and it was almost as if you had to start from scratch.
It was, yeah. That's what, the funniest thing, when we put this Raw as Fuck out, no one knew who it was. They just loving the tune. And funny enough, we won an award at this breaks poll, which was big back then. Like this, like the breakbeat Oscars, I guess they used to have. And people didn't know. And I went up to collect the award, and the people were like, "Oh my God, it's them." They didn't know. It was like really weird. So
What is
yeah.
that? What is that now? Is that when did that switch happen? And did you
What?
love it when it happened? The switch from where I have no idea what this person looks like. I know the name, I know the sound,
Right.
but
This
I'm
was, yeah. This was. I think this was 2003. 2003. Because I think we put out this track Punks out in 2003.
I think a lot of people would say Instagram played a big role in the way that people are digesting the idea of pinup, but I would see the idea Mixmag and DJ Mag played a big role of getting pinup style DJs up on the cover.
Yeah, I think I mean,
Sexy pouts.
Instagram's like in the last 5 years. I mean, the one thing I must say, Canada has always had a what's the word for it? Close associate. Not I'm trying to work for a word, but a close association with UK based dance music. Because I remember even like the jungle scene was really massive back in like 90, 94, 95. It was a huge scene. America didn't know what that was. As far as I'm concerned, America only really kind of got dance music around about 2009 when dubstep and EDM kind of happened, really. Before that, Canada has always had a very strong dance music scene. And sorry, I forgot what was veering off on. Like,
Canada.
Yeah. What was the question? What was the question? Because I was going about the. Oh yeah, I said no, I know. So, yeah. So I think people probably bought Mixmag in America and Canada. So
we had it. I mean, you had to go.
We had it. Yeah,
it wasn't situated on every shelf, but I mean, if you went
it was here because since like the late '80s. Well, I was buying these magazines. DJ Mag has been going since like I don't know. I think like 88, 89. It was called DJ International or something like that. I was buying it then, and you find out, you get the reviews, the tunes. It's not, and it wasn't. I guess back in the days, it was all about rave music and stuff, and then obviously it changed. Then we had Mix Mag. We had a big magazine called Music with a K, Music Mag.
I remember that as well. Yeah. That's right. Music, is that still being published, or is that
that went a while ago?
It went a while ago.
So the whole Instagram thing is completely different. But like the I guess the first sort of pin-up DJ really was this guy Sasha. I mean, I don't even know how you get into that position, but
because people were the residency that he had at Shelley's, and people were taking buses from all over the place. The club was sold out days before it opened.
Yeah, but as I said, it's like there were other DJs at the time, plenty of other. But anyway, luck of the draw. But yeah, so he was one of the first.
Well, I
Um,
love Sasha.
but
I
like,
do.
um, yeah, and obviously nowadays with Instagram, it's completely, it's different. So, but the thing is, like, since like 2000, I was saying, since the whole explosion of dance music, particularly in the US, the with you have a lot of these big names, EDM names that are big, and it didn't really come about from Instagram. I think just Instagram has helped that really.
Do you play
Just
golf?
I do play golf, yeah.
So when you guys when Freestylers had their music license for Tiger Woods, what was going on? What happened?
Tiger Woods. I don't know about Tiger Woods. I haven't had anything on Tiger
What
Woods
what what
golf.
was what was the licensing? I read that you were licensed to Tiger Woods. Is this wrong?
Yeah, so that's a fake news.
Is
Fake
it?
news.
Guess what?
Yeah.
It's it's on your wiki.
Is it? Someone put it on
It's
there.
right there.
Maybe it was.
Yeah, I
I don't know.
I did my
I mean,
job.
there was maybe I don't know.
I thought,
Basically, with the first record label, they were
wow.
doing things I didn't even pay attention to. I
So
mean, I was
so
so
wait a
like,
second.
I was so like we'd go on tour in America and just get on I didn't even think about how much money they were spending. I didn't give a shit. It's like I was just loving it. It's like a dream come true.
Wow. That's really
I know we've had on a couple of football games and commercials, and music has been used in movies. So, but I don't know about anything Tiger Woods.
it,
But yeah,
hold on for a
if
second.
it's used on Tiger Woods, by all means.
I mean, if anyone had someone know, get
I'm pleased. Actually,
get in the
you know
comments
what's
right
really
now.
happy? I can say I've lived. One of the tracks got used in Entourage, and that's one of my favorite all-time series ever.
In
Entourage.
2008, the song Jump and Twist from their fourth studio albums, Adventures in
Yeah,
Freestyle, was featured in the soundtrack for Tiger Woods' PGA Tour 2008.
no idea. I remember going to watch. Uh,
Surprise!
I was in. I was on tour in Australia around about 2001, and me and Matt went to watch this movie called "Hey Dude, Where's My Car?" With
Ashton Kutcher and
dude, yeah, and whatever his name is,
Stifler.
yeah, Stifler,
Sean William
yeah,
Scott. I
that's it,
actually
yeah, yeah.
he's in a Canadian movie, a hockey movie called Goon, which
Oh
is
right,
amazing. If you haven't seen it,
yeah.
see Goon.
So we were sitting in the cinema, and I'm watching this movie, and all of a sudden there's this club scene, and this music comes on. I think, oh, I recognise that. That's our song. What's that like? You're sitting there, and I had no idea it was in this movie because I probably wasn't paying attention. Like that someone wanted to license it,
Ah,
and we waited to the end of the movie for the soundtrack to come up, and it said our name on there. So
so when the residual, where the residuals go? Like,
oh no, I've probably made from that. Oh no,
no, I'm not
that
saying
there,
the
that was
amount.
for the
I'm just saying,
first.
how like you must have been like, okay, you get your statement, you're reading this. I mean, I'm assuming I read my statements. I was like,
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
cool, like
I, I,
Yugoslavia.
I,
Like I rub my eyes. How am
I
I being
probably,
played
yeah,
there? But
no, I probably wasn't paying attention much back then, but now I do.
well, you might want to pay attention to this.
Yeah, no, but said so. Like with the first record label that we put our stuff up, we never made any money because they supposedly spent loads of money and they're forever recouping. So anything like that, they would have just put in the pot, and like we haven't ever properly seen royalty statements, and so.
It sounds like there's a mission and an adventure waiting for you.
Yeah, exactly.
What about air travel? Do you like air travel?
I do like air travel. In fact, I've been learning to fly. Not that I actually wanted to be a pilot before I got involved in music. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a pilot, and I wanted to join the Royal Air. I mean, again, it's not like there is, if you want to be a pilot nowadays, if you're young and come in college and spend all your inheritance and learn to fly and blah blah blah. But that back then, I wanted to join the Royal Air Force and then go and fly for British Airways, I guess, and but it didn't happen because music had a calling. But I don't know. In the last year, I just had a revelation. Think, look, you know what? I need to learn to fly. I've got to do it, and I've always wanted to do it. And yeah, I've had because I had like an introductory sort of thing last year in October, and then because it's only small planes, you kind of the weather dictates a lot of the time when you go flying. So then the next time I booked for a proper lesson, it got cancelled because of the weather. Then I booked again and the weather got cancelled. Then we went into lockdown. Then we came out of lockdown. Then I tried to book again and it was bad weather. Then we went into another lockdown again. So anyway, so subsequently this year, I've probably gone for it. So I'm having lessons every other week. I'm on my 7th, and I love it. It's very daunting because there's so much. Your brain has to do about 10 things all at once.
Are you
And
doing a jet plane? Or are you learning on a propeller?
no. Everyone starts off on I'm on a little prop plane. It's like, fits, one of these Cessnas. But yeah, it's
single engine, or is it?
Single engine. Yeah.
Right.
No, single engine. So, but yeah, but when you finish the lesson, I'm like buzzing. So, but yes, but back to the question. I love flying. I do like flying. Well, that's the only way of getting about. I kind of, I'm very fortunate. And a matter of times when I go to Australia, I do fly in luxury. But I've got actually a friend of mine who works for British Airways, so I do these like standby flights because I'm his friends and family bonuses, so I get these cheap business seats. So it's quite good. But yeah, I haven't been on a plane since March 2020. So
I might cry a bit. I might actually enjoy it. I know it. I'm not a good flyer.
oh right, okay.
At all. I feel
Somewhere like
some turbulence. It's the turbulence that does me in. I'm all right. Takeoff, landing, all that stuff.
yeah.
Really, really great.
Well,
But
funnily enough, turbulence. It's like turbulence is a funny one because, if you have a few drinks, you're right. Or if you have a Xanax, you're right.
no,
Drinks,
definitely not. No.
But the
I
thing
want to
is,
be sober,
I-
clear as a bell when I'm up there.
but the thing is, now that I've been in these little planes and like the planes going like this, yeah, it's like proper. You're going. I'll probably like. It's fine. It's totally fine. It's really fine. It's really fine. It really is. Nothing's going to happen to you, even if you drop. Like with the air pockets. Air pockets are really, quite.
I've been through wind shear twice.
Okay. I mean, Canada has quite. When you're flying across Canada, Canada does have quite sort of increment weather.
Crossing over Alberta.
You got
to Vancouver if you're flying from east to west. Oh yeah, and then there's a jet stream line, or I'm not sure you would know what this is called, from Ontario to Quebec. If you're flying from Toronto, Montreal, there's a 20-minute or 25 minutes before landing. There's a 5-minute super rough period as well.
Really? I don't know. And because obviously in Canada and a lot of the regional flights are all propeller planes as well. So
I mean, there's still a lot of them. I think the Bombardier
especially
planes.
like or BC, like when you're going to
right.
Like
Yes,
place,
definitely.
Kelowna, and it's more like if you're going on Air Canada, like Kelowna,
right.
What's the other place? Castlegar. When you fly to Victoria, it's all prop planes. It's like, but literally Victoria's like that, and next minute you're down. So
right, yeah, it's a 10-minute. I think you're in the air.
Actually, what I really enjoy, if you ever get a chance, or you don't like flying, I've done it a couple of times now. I've flown
I fly all the time. I mean,
on the water plane from downtown Vancouver down to Victoria. It's brilliant. The water jet, takes on the bay there.
The ferry from Vancouver to
no,
the
you
island.
go. No, you go on the plane, that takes off on the water.
Oh, apologies, I missed. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that as well. There's I think it's called Sea to Sky, or that might be something else. There is something that goes from Whistler to
maybe
to Vancouver, and then Vancouver to Victoria. I've done that. I was pleasantly surprised about the water takeoff. I thought that it was.
Yeah, it's really smooth.
Look at you getting all comfortable on the couch with me. This is
Well, no,
this is our
my
first date.
battery
That's
is dying.
second date
I've
stuff.
got enough. I've got an old Mac and it needs charging up every now.
When touring, how important
Mm,
was it to take in a detail of where you were geographically? Like, for example, if I was in London, I'd want to see Big Ben
mm,
or Buckingham.
okay.
But like when you were touring and you were heading off to bigger or smaller destinations, were you
Mm.
wanting to take in either a site or a specific food? Was this important to you?
I'm a terrible tourist. I really am. I could go to somewhere I've never been before and sit in my room. But generally, um, like when I go to Russia, because Russia's got some amazing sights to see. But a lot of the times, I don't. Yeah, kind of more you see stuff on the ride from the airport to the hotel, then from the hotel to the club and to the rest. So. But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not much of a sightseer
If
really.
if you're not that much of a tourist, why would did you build up the want to learn how to fly? Or
I don't think you
totally,
need to be a tourist.
separate things
Yeah,
or independent.
I don't think you need to be a tourist. I don't think you need to be a tourist. So I just want to learn to
You just want
fly
to be up
because
in the
it's
air. You
like a
don't
good.
want to go places.
Yeah, it's like a challenge. I just think it's an amazing
Right,
thing if you can do
for
it to
sure.
learn to fly because this is a real. I mean, maybe I'll. I mean, I don't know, but it's potentially maybe I'll move on to jets. I mean, I don't know, but I've got to start somewhere. But um, yeah, I mean, I do like touristy. I mean, I kind of like um, when it comes to like tourism, it's more like action things. Like I'll go to if there's a theme park, if it's possible, have the time, or you know, uh, go skiing or go scuba diving, or if you've got the time. But a lot of the times when I go to like European gigs, like to Spain or Russia or Romania or wherever, you're literally in there. You leave early, you get to the airport, you get to the hotel, and you're back the next day. So you don't really see anything. The only times I really stay anywhere is America, Canada, Australia, because it's a bit further to travel. So, yeah. Normally, actually, I judge a place. I love my food. And normally I want to go to food places. That's what I want.
What
So,
was your favorite food destination?
uh, my favorite food. Well, my favorite restaurant in the world is in Sydney, in Australia.
What is it?
It's a Chinese. It's a Chinese seafood restaurant, and it's called the Golden Century. But you go in there and they have all the like. I mean, it's not for the squeamish, but you go in there and you have a lobster and it comes to the table. I actually made a mistake. It was my what? It was my 50th birthday last year. Yeah,
Okay.
last year, and I'd been DJing. I was in Australia touring, and this I went to. So I did this gig in Sydney, and the next day I had to change hotels, and in between there were hotels because you have to wait to check out and check in and all that stuff. It turned out my favorite restaurant was like a 10-minute walk from the hotel I was checking out of. So I thought, and I was really hungover, and I went there and I ordered, and normally I go in there with a few people. Anyway, I've ordered my food. I just ordered like a lobster. They do this amazing, like, I know it sounds big, but this kind of cucumber garlic salad thing. Anyway, the bill came and it was like 350 Australian dollars, which is about 180 pounds. And I thought, oh well, it was a birthday treat. That's my birthday present to me. But yeah, but I've been, yeah. I mean, the thing is, in Canada, I've spent most most of my time when I've been in Canada, has mostly been West Coast, like Vancouver, BC. I haven't spent that much time in Toronto, really. Um, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Actually, back in the day, we used to come and play at that government club quite a lot. That was a really good club. So we'd go there. I think we played there about 3 or 4 times. Well, obviously, that's closed down now. But yeah, I mean, I've had most of my touring is normally West Coast because there's so many little places to go to.
Breakbeat Pocket Love.
Yeah, it's breakbeat. Yeah, yeah. They like their breakbeats on the West
Do
Coast.
you have a favorite tour moment?
Oh God, there's too many
That's amazing.
moments. Um, I can't really think of anyone. I can think of tours. I can tell you my favorite tour ever was this tour we did in Australia called the Big Day Out Tour. It doesn't exist anymore, but like it used to be. Like if you get on this was like the tour to do. And when we did it, there was Beastie Boys were headlining, and they were headlining main stage. Oh, I've got the poster behind me. I don't know if you can see it there. Like they had System of a Down were playing. So I met all these groups, man. It was like great hanging out with these guys. System of a Down, I got quite friendly with it because I really liked them as well. I mean, I didn't know them personally, but I like their music. Um, but we were playing. We were playing in like they had this for the dance artists. They had an area called the Boiler Room. It was literally the boiling room. You know, it was so hot. The Chemical Brothers were headlining that room.
Was this
We
an
were like,
affiliated name with like the brand now, the social media brand or party brand? I'm not quite sure how to label them. They seem like they throw
"What are you
parties.
talking about?
I
Talking
love
about
it.
the Big Day
I'm
Out?
not knocking it. But
You talking
no,
about the Big Day Out?"
no, the boiler room.
Oh, right. No, it wasn't. No, it was nothing to do with that boiler room. No, no, it wasn't to do with that boiler room sessions.
Okay.
The arena was where you play was just called the boiler room. That's what they called it.
Would you would you think to yourself when all this was started, back when you had to go
Mm.
and enter into the studio, that the adventure would take you into where you are today?
No,
So
that's
Freestylers was not a vision. It was a creative
yeah. I
output.
basically, well, I mean, obviously, I was doing music before Freestylers, but obviously my musical career did take off when I started doing Freestylers. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I was doing an interview today, and I personally, musically, I don't. I'm not calculated with my music making. I don't have this like, oh, if I do this, this is gonna. Well, you hope, but some people are very, very calculated with the music, and like they'll do one thing, it's their formula, and they don't care, and they'll just stick with it. And but as far as freestyles or my music making, I don't really. I just every time it's like for push up, people say to me, "Why don't you just do another push up?" Well, funny enough, on this new album we've got coming out, I've done something kind of similar, but like just churning out loads of push-ups, I can't do it. I don't make music like that. I don't really come from that. Um, I think I have a kind of good sense of uh, not not generic pop music, chart pop, but I've gotten a good idea of what could be popular and like melodies and stuff. But um, I don't make what I think is I'm not calculated with my music making. I'd say every track I do, unless it's a remix, but you just start with a blank space, and that's what I do. That's how I paint my picture. I don't just try and imitate what I've done before. I don't churn out pop, what you'd chart music, should I say? Really, I'm hoping it might go in a chart, but it's not like top 40 chart. Maybe by some miraculous thing, it attracts enough people's ears to go top 40. But they're never intended. They weren't intended. I just wanted to make a good tune. I mean, tracks like Push Up and any track that we've had success commercially wise, Push Up, um, B Boy Stance, they were just made as like underground tunes. I mean, funny enough, even though that track Cracks that we had that was became massive dubstep anthem through the Flux Pavilion remix. It was huge in America. Originally, it was like a kind of Belgian techno-y inspired record, and we just wrote this line, "Cracked." Do you know the song "Cracked"?
Yes.
So yeah, and we just wrote this line, and then this guy Flux Pavilion switched it around and turned it. That kind of created his career in a way.
Do you think to yourself, man, all of these records, and that they're out there. This process. Do you have like a letting go process after you've done and created something, or are you?
What do you mean? So,
Well, we're feeling distributors, and so we lay down our feelings and what's in our mind, and
mm.
then once it leaves us, we've got absolutely no control on what happens with it. It could go anywhere.
Oh yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, that's it. You've got no control. It's just like sometimes you're in the studio. Everyone does it. All producers go, yeah, this is the one. This is like sick. This is, and it just goes over people's heads. And you make one track that you think's shit, and it's just like that's the one that everyone likes. It's, it's like the complete opposite. It's really weird.
It's no
I've
control.
done that loads. I just thought there was this track I did ages ago, and I just absolutely hated it. And it went on became like a really seminal tune. I thought this is really crap. I didn't like it at all. There you go.
If we're gonna go back to the DJ, well, switch on the DJ
That's
hat
right.
right now, and
Okay.
ask you. We're gonna put you right now into the hot seat, the big
Okay.
moment of the show.
Hmm.
You've got three records. The records that you know and you love. They're your favorite records. They either rescue a dance floor in a moment of need, or when things are going absolutely perfect, you're going to put them on because you know that they work no matter what. What are these three records for you?
Oh God, that's like the hardest question. And I could be really narcissistic and just say, obviously, it's free, my own tracks, my own
Sure, why
productions.
not?
Because the thing is, obviously, if people I've got to a stage now where I literally am playing a lot of. We started off this other project called Pirate Jams, which is kind of housey, rave, acid house sort of vibes. And between that and freestyles, I can just pretty much do a whole set. Got 23 years of music in there. We can do it all. So, um, well, I mean, I'd say what always gets the party going is our track Roughneck, either in its original form or there was a remix used, but people really still like Roughneck. Another track
It's
that was on the
amazing.
Raw's Fuck album.
It's amazing. It's an amazing song. Yeah.
There's another track on our Raw's Fuck album called Boom Blast, which I could do a 30-date tour in Spain, probably in the same village, town, city, and play the same track. I probably could play it all night long just after, and they just go mad. They just love that song. Boom Blast always goes down well. It's always tracks, that mature. So obviously tracks that people take for a while. And then yeah, I don't want to say obvious ones. I mean, obviously you can say a particular Prodigy record because
No, it's it's
people just
it's
like
worth it's
it.
worth
Yeah,
it. I
yeah.
think everyone that's listening or watching right now would want to know, where the
Yeah,
where
and
the
it
vibe
depends.
came
Also,
from.
it depends where. Also, it depends on where I am. Like if I'm in, as I said, in Spain, they want to hear that, or if I'm in Russia, they want to hear that, or if I'm in Canada, they want to hear that. So, um, and there's another track. Trying to think what other ones. It's probably a golden oldie. There's a track again on the Raw as Fuck album called Slammer that people really like. Um, yeah, something like that. I know it's hard. It's just like
Sure, it's
it's like
it's
trying to be.
it's not an
It's
easy
like trying
question.
to be on. You know what it is. It's like trying to be on Mastermind, and you could be sitting here watching TV, and you'll know all the answers, but you go on the TV show, and it's like brain
Sure,
freeze.
sure. And perhaps an hour after the conversation, you may have like a moment like where it's like, boom,
Mm,
epiphany, and it's like, this song.
mm.
That
But as I said, I think it depends on where you're at as well. Like in Australia, they want me to always play push up, and
right.
it's just like I don't actually really play that anymore. I play this. We did this track on the name Scam, which is kind of called Get Up and Dance, and it's in the same key, and the arrangement works perfectly with the a cappella, and it changes key when the singing changes. It sounds really good, and that I kind of do manually, you know, like the a cappella over the top of this Get Up and Dance tune. So that sounds pretty good.
You've been working on music through the pandemic.
Yeah, loads. We actually finished the new Freestylers album practically before the pandemic hit, and then I kind of slowly mixed the album. But the album's coming out actually in August. It's called Other Worlds. It's the 6th studio album, and we've kind of gone back to our roots, and it's very sort of raw and breaky, and it's kind of a combination of raw as fuck and we rock hard. There's like a big mixture of styles on there. We've got some b-boy electro, a lot of reggae in there. Like it's just, yeah. We're going to call it We Fuck Harder, you know, because it was like it's like the combination too. But anyway,
I don't know how that SEO would work in your favor.
Yeah, I know. But Other Worlds was a bit more, yeah. So, but yeah, no, and I'm really, really happy with it. We had this track, our first single called Happiness, which I don't know if you've heard it. If not, I'll send it to you so you can spread the love. Yeah, it went down a storm over here. And then we did a track with, unfortunately, Tenafly now passed away about 5 years ago. But I did this track in 2010 that was kind of before dubstep was kind of getting big, but it was more like a reggae sort of dubby stonery vibe. Anyway, one morning I woke up and I had this brainwave. I said, you know what, I'm going to pitch the vocal up to 174 and turn it into a jungle tune. So he did that, and then and I've got again like different collaborations. Our next single is this track called Fabulous, which is a bit push-up-esque. And then, you know, then the album's going to come out in August, so I'm excited to put it out. And then also we've been doing this other project, as I was saying a bit earlier, called Pirate Jams, which is kind of a combination of breaks and house and acid house and rave, sort of throwback to the 90s sort of sound. So pushing that and just doing our own thing, really, not following
when can we hear all of this?
Well, the album Other Worlds is coming out in August. You can hear Pirate Jam stuff. It's out now. You know, there's previous releases. Our first release was actually released on the Stanton Warrens label called Punks. So that you can still buy that. You can go on Spotify and listen to all the Pirate Jam stuff. But we're in the process of doing an album because we've done a whole load of new stuff. And also I'm rebringing one of my first productions when I used to work with this girl called DJ Rap. It was Rap and Aston. And the guy who ran this label called Suburban Bass, which was a big popular rave label back in the day, is putting out a couple of tracks of mine as Aston Presents. So I'm trying to push my name forward now.
So 3 different projects.
Yeah, I've got 3 different projects, and yeah.
Wild.
And I've just done this track with Decline, which is Decline Presents Project 5, and I'm Project 5, just because I can't use the name. Yeah, it was just, we called it Project 5 because it was saved as Project 5 on the computer. I just thought, I'll just stick with that, silly names, But, and this is, I'll send you this actually. It's kind of like for me, it sounds like a kind of tech house, but breakbeat. It's kind of unusual, and it's got like big, sort of massive sort of breakdown in the middle, kind of bit trance. So yeah. It sounds good, and it's very beaty. It's not the bass sound you'll hear is coming off a low tom.
Okay.
So it's not like there's a bass line as such. It's just like this tom just driving it as the kind of as the bottom groove of the track. So yeah,
Good
I'll
times.
send you some bits so you can spread the love.
Some winning victory over here. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
want to.
yeah,
I want to
yeah.
hear it all. Obviously.
Yeah, I'll send you. Yeah, I'll send you a load of bits. So yeah.
Thanks a lot for coming on to the show.
Yeah, no worries. I'm pleased to be talking about the music, and hopefully I can come to Canada and play soon. You know, when
I
the
know
world opens up,
I haven't. I
it
feel
will.
like I
It will
haven't
do. It
seen
will do
you in.
soon.
I don't even know how long I haven't seen you. I haven't.
I know. I know. I haven't seen you for a long time now. I know
Yeah,
we
long
bumped.
time.
I think one time. No, I've seen you since then. We bumped into it in a field, didn't we?
We
At
played at
that
some party in some
weird
mountain in
party.
BC with Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What was it called? Chilliwack Festival or something like
I
that.
can't remember, but maybe
Yeah, it
something.
was called Chilliwack. It was called Chilliwack,
Okay, I'm
or
happy you
it was in
remember.
Chilliwack, and we were staying at some weird sort of motel that had that really crap restaurant chain. Um, oh, I can't remember now. Like
Denny's?
blue, white, no, white or blue.
Not White
It's
Castle. That's an American
no, no,
burger
that's no,
chain.
no, no, that's burger. No, it's like something spot, something spot, something.
I don't
Oh, I
know.
don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Anyway, it
I'm
was
not a big
attached to the
chain
hotel.
restaurant
It was
guy.
attached to the. It was attached to the hotel. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things of what I was talking to you earlier about being out and about, and if you were able to stop and
White Spot, isn't it a chain called White Spot?
oh shit, I think you're right.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
but
called White Spot. Yeah.
that's a West Coast thing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh, I see.
No,
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
for
Right.
sure. No, there is,
White
there
Spot.
is,
Yeah.
there is. Yeah, and I can't remember what hotel chain it's associated with, but you're right. And
It was
I've stayed there too.
probably like a Best Western or something like that.
Hey, you're absolutely lovely.
Thank
I
you.
loved our first date together.
It was brilliant. We
Yeah.
can do it again
I
sometime.
would like that. It was especially wonderful becoming romantic with you during this time that we shared.
Yeah.
Any
So yeah, so I hopefully things will. I think the horizon is the future is bright. I think
oh,
we'll all, we'll go back to normal. I know it's
I mean,
pain, but
I
we
don't
just
know
got.
what normal is, but I like the idea of going back to being
Yeah,
together. Let at
well,
least let's get together.
as I said, as far as I know, in London, you can go to a restaurant. I feel normal. Obviously, the thing is, I can't travel. I can't DJ in a club. It will happen though. But as far as like
What's the vibe? Is it like out on the street? I mean, obviously, like not in the club. I mean, what are people
just
standing next? Are
normal.
they standing next to each other and talking, or are people doing
Yeah,
okay? That's
yeah,
close
yeah,
enough.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So everyone's standing next to each other talking. I had a friend of mine's 50th birthday on the weekend, and like everyone was, normal. It was in his house,
Hmm.
but he had about 25 people over there. It was all kind of normal.
Wow,
The shopping,
massive.
the shops, apart from wearing masks, it's just everyone's normal. There's no queues or anything like that. It's like, you go in. I've been for dinner for a few times now, out for dinner. It's like normal. It's just, you wear a mask, go in, go out, and that's it.
Do you have a website to shout out or a destination that people can
Well,
visit specifically for freestylers?
I have a website. It's not. It's more like I do Instagram and Facebook. The website is a bit not. It's updated randomly. It's not really what. I think originally that's what websites were designed for. But then obviously things like Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these things kind of took over, I guess, from just having your own website. Really, I guess, right?
I mean, I agree with you. I think a website is it's just
It's sort of semi-redundant.
it's another extension, but you could get the
Yeah,
message out using the platforms.
yeah. I feel it's like a bit of a semi-redundant situation having your band website. I mean, you
Yeah,
can sell dice and stuff and music and links to music, but again, it's like it's another ends to a means, you know.
Sure. There's at this point, I feel like the average music person needs to juggle chainsaws to keep all of it happening
That's it.
simultaneously.
Most, I think, music fans probably just go Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram, and then that's it really. And
Because
now, obviously, you've got what's the other one? Now TikTok. It's just like
are you on it?
TikTok. Yeah, but I haven't done anything on it yet. I've just joined. I don't even know what. I just look at it, and it's just like loads of pointless people doing pointless things for no apparent reason.
I read something recently. The line was that monopolies can blind you to alternatives and stifle
Mm,
creativity. And
mm,
I think what you were saying just a moment ago about just that people will just go to Spotify or they'll just go to this popular app or whatever the popular app is,
mm.
just because it's fast, it's easy, it works, it's there. It's a lot like I sounds like I'm describing fast food actually is what I'm describing. And I've made the remark that once you stop looking or listening for or to new music, this is when you start to age, and get older. So, like for example, obviously, there's a lot of people who would want what they would call the oldies or whatever generation the oldies is associated with, and then marinating on that. And when a new sound happens, we'll say something like, "Oh, music's not like it used to be. It was so much better before." Uh, this is bullshit. But today, but today. So I hear what you're saying in regards to the action, the default action that people will take. There's a joke that people open and close their phones and use the same four apps. They'll open up app one, app two, app three, app four, close their phone. 10 minutes later, open the phone again. App one, app two, app three, app four, close the phone. Um, it's a strange thing.